All right, let's get it going. We're going to do it a little differently tonight, so you got to give me some grace. Let's have Steve pray us in.
Dear Lord, thank you for this great evening and waiting for a great message from Pastor Jeff. Amen.
All right, we're going to start with anniversaries. First and foremost, happy 4th of July. And I really respect the fact, because it was important to me to come back from the cabin, because I don't think in the 19 years there's ever been a 4th of July that landed on a Tuesday. And all that being said, every day was kind of a 4th of July in my addiction. So the fact that you came here tonight, and I know some people aren't here because they couldn't get away from family or functions, and I respect that totally, but you know, for those of us that are here, I really respect that. I mean, this place is nearly full on a holiday, so let's give you a hand. So as you can see, Doug is not here. You know if you're getting an anniversary, so come forward, let's give these people a hand. Your name is on the chair, so find your name. And Eric's in charge, so we need even more grace. So 100% of all the people that are on this stage right now have made a conscious decision to do what they don't want to do so they can do what they want to do. And we know if we end up doing what we want to do, we're going to end up doing what we don't want to do. So looking at these faces, it really blows my mind that truly they have made a conscious decision. And another thing that's really cool about this stage is 90% of the people on it are either in or have came through our sober housing program. So the national statistics of, and we all know this, I've been through 11 treatments, of staying sober are right around 10%. That doesn't give us very good stats. The fact that this stage is loaded with people that decided after treatment to go to a transitional house or extended care shows you the fruit of their decision. Again, it's not an easy decision, but I had, like I said to the champions earlier this afternoon, is like, I'm just tired of living that woulda, coulda, shoulda lifestyle. Ending up in jail saying, I wish I would have listened. Ending up, I lost a really close friend to an airplane accident. You probably saw it on the news at 47 years of age. You never know when your time is up. But whenever my time is up, I pray to God it's not because I got a needle in my arm. And that's certainly no disrespect to some of our friends we've lost through those means. I made a commitment to everyone that I have buried from an overdose that I'll do my best to continue to carry the message. And if you carry the message will carry you. You can't carry the addict. But my mom, who's no longer with us, she's in heaven today. All the treatments up until the 11th one, she wanted my recovery more than I did. I see Clint's mom and grandma here today, and I can tell you they would attest to the fact of they wanted Clint's sobriety more than Clint did at one time of their lives. You have to make a conscious decision to do this. And tonight, each and every one of you did, so let's give you a hand. Let's give it up for Austin for 1 year. In the 19 years of doing Serenity Village, I rarely have met somebody that is as kind as Austin is. But beyond his kindness, he's a high-level servant. Beyond being a high-level servant, the love that he has for his son Ethan is absolutely incredible. And oftentimes, I'm sure as if people looked at me, I would watch Austin, go back to the methamphetamine lifestyle. Because addiction doesn't care if you're a nice guy. Addiction doesn't care if you want to quit. And in his previous attempts to get free, I'd watch him scratch and crawl trying to get away from the drugs. And I watched him taste freedom. But tonight he's living freedom. There's a big difference from tasting freedom and living freedom. This community over the years is the way it is because of guys like you. You'll give the shirt off your back. You're an incredible leader. But it's one thing to be kind to people. It's another thing to be kind to yourself. And over the last 12 months, you have learned to be kind to yourself. I love you. I trust you. I consider you a friend. And I couldn't do this without you. Congratulations on 1 year. Love you. Thank you so much.
Well, I got to give God all the glory to begin with, of course. I could sit here and thank so many people I know in this audience, but I'll just start with who's on stage behind me. My house manager, Dad, a.k.a. Clint. Lisa Nuri, I've known her 28 years. I mean, it's a miracle. We have no business being alive, let alone be on the stage. My sponsor, Steve, and then Eric, who I've known over 30 years. Always a dear friend of mine. He has no business being alive either, but here we are on the stage, and that's a miracle. One other person who's really put up with my mess the last 3 years is Stephanie, And for that, I'm grateful, and I'm really just grateful for today. It's really all I got. Be kind and take care of each other.
Let's give it up for Richard for 1 year. Doug, who's usually introducing the meeting, sent me a text about an hour ago with a photo in it. And Doug's with his dad, and he took his dad to a ball game in Milwaukee in a wheelchair just so he could spend another ball game with his dad. But this particular picture that they sent me of Richard shows transformation. I'll never forget when he walked in here for the first time, and he's a great observer. And he was trying to figure out what this community was all about, as some of you may be trying to do this evening. And he got out of his own head and no longer lived in analysis paralysis. And he came all the way in, and he sat all the way down, and he shut all the way up. Over the last 12 months, he has shared victories with me in passing of getting a dream job. He doesn't just show up, he shows up breathing success. But he's taken his success and he's done something significant. He's no longer a liability, he's an asset. He understands that he's been picked up, turned around, and placed on solid ground. He's got the joy that gives him a bounce in his step. He gives back. He doesn't forget where he came from. And he not only sounds like transformation, he not only looks like transformation, he is transformation. Let's give it up for 1 year. Love you, man.
Well, we were asked to keep this short tonight, and I thank whoever sent me that, because that'll keep me from crying. But the people in this room, the men and women under Jeff's voice, the men and women under Jeff's leadership have made a massive impact on my year. They've helped me keep my head. They've helped me keep my safety. They've given me things that I could never give back. Jeff, I'd like to take this moment to thank you for that in this place. You're doing big things here. And I thank you.
Let's give it up for Chris for 1 year. So we were doing a pig roast earlier in the parking lot for the champion clients. And Chris walked up to me and he gave me this handmade piece of steel that says, come all the way in, sit all the way down, and shut all the way up. Jeff Hill. But it wasn't just the gift and the token of the thought that he made this by hand when he handed it to me. It was the depth of gratitude and honor and respect and humility within his voice, his heart posture, understanding that he should not be alive to give somebody else the gift. You always sit back there. And you always grab me and as I'm hugging people. And you've shared your heart with me over these last 12 months. You've also shared your pain with me. And I think that's so important for us to understand. You have to share your pain. But you know what? In spite of the pain, if it was physical through a surgery at the time, if it was something else going on with you, he always showed up. And he's sitting here now 12 months later, giving back something that I will cherish for the rest of my life. And it's not just about the gift. You know, giving a gift is one thing, but watching somebody receive the gift you gave them is something else. And when you handed this to me today, it made my year. My children stopped by earlier today and I showed it to them. First thing I did. I cherish your freedom. I cherish our friendship. You carry yourself in such a high level of respect, but it's one thing to give respect to me. It's another thing to respect yourself. And you have done that for 12 consecutive months. Congratulations.
I don't know if handing me a mic's a good idea. I think my mentor, Paul's somewhere in the audience. He's right here. Because he's here and I'm still on paper, I'd like to thank Anoka Sheriff's Department and the court system. For helping me make up my mind that whiskey is not my friend. Scott's not here. Metro Hope was a big part. I'd like to thank Serenity Village, the housing for part one, and then BSM for part two. I have no idea what I'm doing. The only way that I flounder my way through every day is God. There's just a lot of grace there. The one person, she couldn't be here right now, Jody, she's watching at home. If it weren't for her being behind me and beside me, whether I deserved it or not, I wouldn't be here at all. I guess the only thing I can say that can be something of a piece of advice is when it changed is when I got tired of me. Everybody else was tired of me. The day I got tired of me, God could actually step in and go, oh, you're done? All right, we can get something done. Anyways, thank you, Pastor Jeff.
Let's give it up for Jesse for 2 years. You're BSM, right? BSM. So my man who asked me about the BSM program, which is an incredible program, that's a graduate, and this guy's part of it. See him after the meeting. Because the rest of the guys aren't here. But this guy right here, look at him. Look at that smile. For 2 years, I've seen that smile. For 2 years, as I'm running around here like a chicken with my head cut off, we always seek each other out to embrace each other and tell each other we love them. You have such an aura and a magnetic vibe about yourself, I can see why the devil tried to kill you. Because now you're free, and you're not only free, you're teaching other men how to get free too. For the life of me, and I'm sure our family members can look at us and like, well, this doesn't make sense why you're buying, shooting, snorting, and drinking something that's killing you. You have a great personality. You have a great aura. And you have all those things. But I believe most of all, the reason why you smile that lights up the room is because you're grateful. And you haven't forgotten where you came from. And now you're paying it forward by serving people in need. You're a champion. You're a warrior. I commend the BSM program for your success. Thank you for being a big part of this community because we are one and the same. Congratulations on 2 years. Love you.
Man, I am a lot less nervous than I was last year standing up here, and I think it's because I just feel like I'm at home. You know, I love this place. I really got to thank BSM, Jim, Liz, for everything, and thank God. You know, I wouldn't be where I'm at. You know, Pastor says if we would have gotten what we wished for, you know, we'd be selling ourselves short. And man, I'm just so blessed today. It's unreal.
Let's give it up for Ree for 2 years. You are a deep thinker. You are a deep processor. And if I was to make a discerning thing in spirit realms, that oftentimes your analysis paralysis would get you in trouble. Everything that you have ever internalized of the whys behind the what of addiction or whatever has happened in your life did not make sense. But somewhere along the line over the last 24 months, giving yourself a chance made sense. No matter what self-talk you would have to yourself, no matter what opposition or people may be not understanding why you had to do what you needed to do for you, because you strike me as a caregiver. But it's one thing to be a caregiver and it's one thing to take care of yourself. And you would not be sitting here on this stage celebrating 2 years of freedom if you did not learn how to take care of you. So I applaud that, being selfless. Taking care of you is not selfish, it's selfless. And you're wearing that shirt that represents freedom because you're not just representing freedom, you're breathing freedom, you're teaching freedom, and you are freedom. Congratulations on 2 years. Love you, girl.
Thank you. Wow, I'm super nervous. Yeah, just super grateful. My son, sorry. My oldest son said he was proud of me today, and it was just the best thing that I heard in so long. And that's the greatest gift, other than my salvation, is to have my kids support and love me. So I'm super grateful, and I'm super nervous, so thank you.
Let's give it up for Gina for 2 years. I just have this feeling that she's a pillar. She's a staple in this community. She's an observer, but she walks in wisdom, and it's still wisdom. So over this last year or so, we always embrace each other, and she's always sitting at the end of that row, and sometimes people take her seats, and she kindly sits somewhere else. But I want you to know how important you are to my recovery. I say to you every time we speak that your still wisdom speaks volumes. It radiates through this entire place. Just having you here is so important. But beyond having you here, you bring such an energy and such a grounding element about your soul. Your soul is so grounded that it grounds the souls that are around you. And I'm one of those souls that am able to be grounded because of you being grounded. You're elegant. You're classy. You're graceful. You're beautiful inside and out. And you're finally giving you time for you to be you. And since you found you through him, all of us are better. Congratulations on 2 years. Love you, girl.
Well, you guys, I'm thankful for God's grace and mercy. You know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. And I am so glad to be able to be in recovery, you know, and to be able to work the recovery, not let the recovery work me, you know. And I'm just blessed. I don't know what else to say. Thank you, family and friends and everyone. And thank you, Serenity Village. The community is just that. It's a village. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Angela for 2 years. It hasn't been easy. Life has showed up over these last 2 years. And sometimes life, when it shows up, and I'm not talking about self-inflicted life. I'm talking about life happening on life's terms. But the God in you stuck it out, didn't become bitter, and actually became better. And that takes courage. That takes tenacity. That takes depth. And that takes an intimate relationship with God himself. As we just heard a moment ago, the applause from your sisters. You are a leader. You were a leader out there in the game. You're a leader in the kingdom of God. You are stable. You are secure. You have favor. You have purpose. You have poise. You have power. But most of all, you have found your position in life. And because you have found your position in life, we can be positioned in such a way to continue this thing called Serenity Village, to help people that most likely would be dead if they didn't meet people like you. Congratulations.
Well, first and foremost, all glory to God. I would be dead if he hadn't have swooped me up and set me down in the Hennepin County Workhouse 2 years ago. Pastor Jeff, thank you so much for being obedient to his call. I'm so grateful for you, Pastor Danny, Pastor Blair, Pastor Scott, Pastor Terry, Kylie Benson, Matt Anderson, for giving me the opportunity to do something that I love every day that fills my soul, and everybody with Loaves and Fishes. My sisters, I love you guys so much. And it is because of you that I have joy every day. And I can't wait to do life with you, so thank you.
Great job. Let's give it up for Clint for 4 years. I want to really pay honor, and I apologize, I don't know all the family members that are here tonight. I salute all of you. I salute all of you for not giving up with us. The probation officers, parole officers that are here are listening. We salute you as well. Sometimes we're mad at you, but without you, we'd probably be not here. But there is an intimate, honoring level of respect that I have, that I had with my grandparents, that I had with my mother, and still have with my father, who's the only one still on this planet, that Clint has, that I have with them as well, because we're family, with his grandma and mother. I want to salute you. Stand up for a second. Let's give them a hand. I've gotten birthday cakes, cookies, everything from them. But when it comes to Clint, I salute the BSM program. Let's give BSM a hand. And then after that, Clint came to be one of our leaders within our homes. But most of all, Clint, you became a friend. You are one of the greatest encouragers I have around me, of me. There are days that I've been down and somehow you knew it. And you would text or call or express gratitude. You're hungry for knowledge and wisdom. You're hungry to help people. And God will never fill you at a level higher than one's hunger. You're like a sponge who absorbs wisdom and knowledge. One thing about Clint, when he calls me and he knows in his head he's being ridiculous. And sometimes it's about me and him and towards me. But he just exposes himself. And then we laugh. And I said, I'm just like you. I get ridiculous. I major into I have insecure moments. Sometimes I don't think people that love me like me even, and I get offended, and he's all those things. That's us. But we're free. We're free. I trust you with my life. I trust you with this legacy. I trust you with anything that's been entrusted to me. I know without a doubt you and I will be together to the end. I love you. I cherish you. I trust you. I honor you. I respect you. But most of all, brother, I want to do life with you. Congratulations.
Stand up. something kind of came over my mind about having a vision and being around people that have a vision when you don't. And they can see the vision in you when you can't. You're that person for me. They're those people for me. I could never, ever repay you for what you've done for me in my life. You gave me a life. And what's cool is to see the true discipleship that happens here because of your vision and your leadership. Not only do I have one Pastor Jeff, but I have 12 of them because you've sown into them so much. Eric can attest that there's times where I don't want to hear it, but I'm gonna hear it because it's time. But honestly, I just want to tell you guys that without you, I wouldn't be here. To see the new faces, to see the faces that have been around, it gives me hope. I love you guys. I love you very much.
Let's give it up for Erica for 5 years. I think I see her dad back there. Let's give him a hand. Because when you're around for 5 years, we get to know you and family. Because we're all one big family. I know with the help of Shauna, in the early years, she was really, like all of us, facing some different things. And now Erica, one that was like a little mouse in the corner that wouldn't say a word, is not only one of our house managers, she's one of our program managers. Let's give a hand for that. There's just something about you. There's just something about you. You don't speak much, but when you do speak, it's power. And it's power rooted and grounded in authenticity, transparency, and humility. For whatever reason, over the many moments we've had over the last 5 years, there was one particular moment where a group of us walked out the back door of the multi-purpose room and we had a ceremony. Might be weird, but we did it. Where we lit fire to all of her memories, because they weren't good ones. And in that particular moment, it wasn't just what we were bringing fire to. It was also the fact that you had a community surrounding you that were holding your heart in our hands. And for you to trust your heart in our hands, more importantly, his hands, is hard to do when trust has been broken in one's life. You are a queen. You are powerful. You are chasing your dreams as your dreams chase you. You're going for it. In spite of what you think, in spite of how you feel, you're going for it. And no different than what Clint just said, when you surround yourself with people that aren't wearing the slogan, just do it, they're wearing just did it, it's a motivator. But now you're a motivator. There are many, if not hundreds of women that probably would not be here anymore if they didn't encounter you. Your love for animals, your love for people, your love in general that you've always given out, now you brought it in, and now you can push it out. I love you. I trust you. This community, Jeff Hill, would be nothing without you. Congratulations on 5 years.
Hi. Thank you, Pastor Jeff. and thank God. And also, I know I wouldn't be here without Teen Challenge and Serenity Village Community Church, as well as Serenity Homes. I want to say I am so grateful to the ladies that I live with. They do, I think they do more for me than I do for them. And I'll say this, I think that Serenity Homes is a wonderful place to be when you get your life together and you're trying to like build a new life for yourself, whether it's get a job or go back to school. It is a great support system, so I highly recommend it. Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.
Let's give it up for Lisa for 5 years. Now, I remember year 1 or 2 when Lisa had to make some really tough calls being a mother and residing in our homes. And I remember meetings in my office where she would be like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And I said, you got to stick and stay. And 5 years later, we're here. And let me tell you something about this queen. She was a road dog in the streets. Her and her husband, straight up crazy. But they took that. The devil trained them so God could use them. Not only did she go through our housing program, she became a housing manager. Now she's a program director. Let's give God a hand for that. And somewhere along the line, we became friends. And you kept pushing your husband towards me, and he's somewhat quiet, and him and I have been able to spend some great time together over the last couple of years, and you're true family. And then over the last 12 to 24 months, you got out of the home and worked a professional job. You're killing it. And on top of that, you're taking care of your children. On top of that, you're being a wife. On top of that, you're serving the women of our program. Because you know what? Just like you did meth, you're doing God. And you can see the result. She comes for counsel. She's a leader. If you ever wanted to meet Joy, meet her. She's got a pep in her step like nobody's business. She knows she shouldn't be alive. She knows that she should be doing long-term time in the penitentiary. She knows that she shouldn't even have her children. At least the ones that were alive when she was out there. But there's something that is such a high quality about you. You have the heart of God. Over these last 5 years, I have watched you help people that hurt you. And they just did not hurt you with words. They hurt you with other things in your addiction. And in the moment you found out that they were trying to change their lives, you went out of your way to show them that freedom was possible. On Sunday, I'm teaching about love. You give that off in abundance. We just love having you here. You bring so much to the table. But while I was traveling a couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of meeting her brother, who sat over there one Tuesday night and came and was broken. And he saw something in this community that gave him hope. And I was just about ready to jump on a plane, and Lisa had called me, and her brother had come to her at the end of himself. Her brother's like me and you and her. He ain't no joke. She sat with him as he was coming off the drugs, and she began to orchestrate ways for him to get in treatment, and he's in treatment tonight. but there was a little bit of a shortfall, and I said, would you allow me to help? And I said, this ain't no handout. We have reciprocity. Because for many, many years, this champion, queen, elegant, world changer, game changer has been serving this community. We got you and your family for life. I love you, I trust you, I honor you, I respect you, and the best is yet to come. Congratulations. Love you.
Thank you so much for letting me be up here, and thank you for all those kind words. I guess I'm just full of gratitude. My rock bottom was the most solid foundation I could have ever built a life on, and I wouldn't be able to build that life unless I would have had a relationship with God. Teen Challenge started that, and then I made a plan, and I went from there, and I came here, and I treated this like my job, my everyday job. I reached out for leadership and for guidance on everything that I possibly could. I was probably annoying at times, but I wouldn't be where I'm at without all of you guys and without this community. I get to be closer to God every single day and learn more about Him through you and through the God that's been put in you. And I'm just so grateful that I get to have my home be right in the middle of my old these are my stomping grounds. I grew up here. So it's bittersweet, but I'm just so grateful. I have everything that I could have hoped for and more, and I do believe the best is yet to come. So thank you.
This is the husband. I didn't see you out there, bro.
Mr. Rustin, I love you, man. Love you.
Let's give it up for Nuke for 7 years. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, you were in Fridley? Right? At our Fridley place? Fridley?
Fizzle.
Yeah, Fizzle. All these knuckleheads. Newt moved into our Fridley location back in the day that we no longer have, and he was an asset out of the gate. And as soon as he found out about all the different serving opportunities that we have with this in this community, and even to this day, you show up on a Monday, you're going to see him 7 years later. That's an insurance policy on your recovery. He has done so much for this community. He dresses up like Santa Claus when we host over 200 women on Christmas that are in treatment. He'll greet you when you walk into the church. He's one of our greeters. He literally, second-handedly, and importantly, has helped save my uncle's life, who's here today, by the name of Jay Hill, who got his medallion last time we did it. I think of Sassy, who's in the crowd, and I know their friendship. Let's give her a hand. She's a high-level servant. But most of all, you and I have an understanding, and it's a deep understanding. It's a deep level of trust. It's a deep level of honor, and it continues to be strengthened 7 years later. It's an unspoken trust. It's an unspoken understanding. It's an unspoken honor that the two of you have. And I think we're just old souls. I remember when you walked in the doors of Fridley and you were at the end of yourself. You took this opportunity and you have taken it beyond a lifetime. And because of the opportunity that you took beyond a lifetime, other people now will live beyond a lifetime. I don't think there's anything more important than that in life. That when you get to heaven, you will see all the people that you served, all the people that you looked out for that did not know how to look out for themselves, just because you came to the end of Newt. And when you became to the end of you is where you began and we got blessed. Thank you for being a blessing, and not just a one-hit wonder, a consistent blessing that continues to go boom, 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 boom. That's your steps, that's your purpose, and that's your mission. And because of that, God is sitting in heaven saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. Congratulations, brother. I love you.
Wow. First of all, I got to give the glory to God and Steve Skowronek for keeping his foot up my backside. And look what I did to him. But no, thank you, Pastor, for those kind words. And I never thought I could do it, but I remember when my wife tried to divorce me when I was in treatment and found out that you can't because you're a vulnerable adult. And I got out of treatment, and Barbara, who did my alcohol assessment, recommended sober housing in Serenity Village because her daughter-in-law at that time was Denise, one of the praise and worship singers, and she became my first friend here. And so I met with Pastor and Doug, and I says, you guys know a good attorney? And Pastor and Doug both go, yeah, we know attorneys. And so I got Doug Redund, and he made my wife's attorney look like a schoolgirl. And we came out well. And then I was going to buy a lake home right next to my ex-wife. And my sister, who's married to the family Pollock, and she said no. She says, no, you can't believe how that church has changed your life. You don't see it, but I do. And so I bought a condo, and like Pastor said, Jay Hill is now my roommate. And I've been coming here ever since. Still looking for a lake home, but not that. So, but God bless you, and thank you, Pastor.
Let's give it up for Matt for 9 years. 9 years ago, I got a knock on my door at 7 in the morning. And there Matt was drunk. And he was with us already, and he had relapsed. And I'm not a morning person. But when I saw the desperation, because you know when someone's done, you can see it. You can see when they're done. And we sat on my front porch and we looked at what was next. And over these last 9 years, Matt has not only helped us build another company that we're entrusted to, but when I say something, I mean it, and we run with it. And I told him a couple years ago, I said, we're going to end up doing something else together. and now we're doing something else together. I have watched Matt raise two incredible children. I have watched Matt, he makes a humble living, but he's not running around with buckets full of cash, put his kids through college. I have watched Matt stay in one of the homes to this day to lead it and run the program when he could buy his own home. I have watched Matt make this community, look around at the walls. Most likely they were painted by Matt Corbett or Eric Norcutt or a couple other people. Not once or twice painted, because I change my mind often. Never complain. Always show up with a smile. Your talent is incredible, but your heart is impeccable. Matt is responsible for a lot of things that are entrusted to me. We laugh together. We do 12-step calls together. We'll do whatever we can for anyone at any time. But most of all, my friend, I love doing life with you. You always give honor and respect. I give you a hard time often, but my dad told me a long time ago, when they quit giving you crap, you better worry. So if I ever quit giving you crap, you better worry. I love you. I honor you. I love doing life with you, and I'd be nothing without you. Congratulations on 9 years. Love you.
It wouldn't be another anniversary up here if I don't first say, do not knock on his door at 7 a.m. It's not a good thing. No, I just thank you very much for the kind words. We spend a lot of time together, and it's probably goes mutual that we don't tell each other face to face how we feel often enough. And yeah, I mean, this is true family, true core family. I mean, the people that are in this room, I spend more time with than my own children. And that's by design. And it makes me a better father for it. I have better relationships with my kids because of the people in this room. They taught me how to be a man, what a man looks like, what a true 100% give it your all every single day of your life. Get up in the morning and go until you can't go anymore is. I wouldn't trade anything I've been through in the 10 years plus now that I've been with Serenity Village. And it's just fun to watch it grow and change. And I'm thankful for the people that, have come and gone and that couldn't be with us, but I'm so thankful for the ones that have stuck and stayed. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Steve for 22 years. I'll never forget, we were going to acquire the apartment building in Fridley, and we kind of did an undercover mission out there. And Steve was running the sober housing that was going on out there, and he's saying, F this, F that, F, we're not going to F and bring God into this, F this, F that. Well, he's smoking a cigarette in his unit, and I'm like, what the heck's going on out here? I looked behind his door, he had a baseball bat. I said, is that how you handle relapses? We're going to make some changes out here. This man right here is one of my closest friends. This man right here knows Jesus Christ probably better than I do. This man, for 22 consecutive years, has woken up and done his devotions. This man, for 22 consecutive years, has prayed. This man, for 22 consecutive years, or at least 20, has served the Anoka Alano Club. This man, for 22 consecutive years, has served people like us. This man, for nearly 12 years, has built this community called Serenity Village. This man, out of the kindness of his heart, is one of our facilities managers. that takes care of all the homes and the buildings and the assets and never asks for nothing. But because of his sacrifice, his family has been restored. And it wasn't but 2, 3, 4 years ago that his relationship with his son was restored. It took that long because his son was so pissed at him. But he knew the promises of the program would come true. He comes early and he stays late for people like us. But most of all, brother, your loyalty that you and I have together cannot be shaken. It has stood the test of time. I love you. I trust you. And when someone went a little south about 12 years ago, or whatever it was, and then with this whole living arrangement, I said, I got you for life, and I'm going to find a house for you. This is what friendship looks like. This is what loyalty looks like. This is what looks like we don't get offended if we disappoint each other. We don't take our ball and go home. We protect each other. We honor each other. We respect each other, and we look out for each other. And not just him and I. Anything his kids or grandkids need, it's done. Same with mine. This is brotherhood. I'm teaching on Sunday. There's no greater love than this, than that one that lays down their life for their friends. He lays his life down for me, and I lay my life down for him. I love you, I trust you, I honor you, I respect you, and you are one good, great man. Congratulations.
Not dead yet, Jeff. Steve, alcoholic. This is for you people. This ain't for me. I'm telling you right now. One side it says to your own self, be true, and that's me. This, it's just another day for me. I'm still on a journey, hoping that I can do another 22 years, but I got to worry about getting through today because all I got is till midnight tonight. If I keep it in my head a day at a time, I'll be okay. I mean, Paulie were talking about it today. He goes, you always told me, Pete, all you got's today. Thank you.
I look at Paul in the front row down there, and him and I ran into each other at the gym the other day, and you look at that friendship, and you look at that humility. That's what life's about. Find some good people that got your back. Speaking of got your back, let's celebrate 35 years for Eddie. I believe it was about the same time that my mom was going on to be with the Lord that you lost your wife. And I know the bond and friendship you have with Steve, who just got his 22 years. Speaking of this house that we got for Steve, I remember Steve saying, I got a friend by the name of Eddie that wants to move into the house. And I said, well, how long has he been sober? 30-some years. I said, what? Why? Because when you lose something you love or someone you love, you have to replace it with someone or something that can love you back. And that's what you found here. It's easy to love you back because you radiate love. You radiate service, you radiate gratitude, you radiate recovery, you radiate brotherhood, you radiate friendship, you radiate loyalty, you radiate trust, you radiate humility, and you radiate freedom. I love you. You are such a joy. You are such a blessing. You are such a gift. Congratulations.
Well, as you well know, 35 years I spent as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And like Pastor Jeff says, I'm a mess that has a message today. AA brought me to Serenity Village, and I've been here now for this November, it'll be 2 years. And it has done nothing except build my spiritual growth to a great extent, thanks to the words of the prophet Jeff Hill. And I believe that he is a definite prophet. Thank you very much, Jeff, and everyone here for my sobriety today.
We're going to pass the baskets. So if you're grateful for your freedom, you will contribute so we can continue to give books to the prisoners and feed people here on Fridays and Saturdays. I'm not going to teach very long, but I do have a freedom message for you. I do have to take a pee, so please watch this video.
Freedom. It's something we cherish in this country. The idea of a free society is embedded into the very core of our nation. Many have died defending it, and many have fought diligently to preserve it. So where has it gone? We've become a nation bound by division, chained by hatred, and consumed by selfishness. There's an epidemic of violence, poverty, brokenness. Does this look like freedom? The Bible tells us we're called to be free, but it also says to use that freedom to serve one another humbly, in love. Maybe that's what we're missing in America. Today, we celebrate Independence Day. Perhaps it's time we recognize that true independence is found only in a lasting dependence on God. For where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom.
Lord, I thank you for another day above ground and out of prison. I thank you for the men and women that are the sound of my voice, that have given another lease on life. Lord, I pray that you give us the power and strength to do what we got to do to continue to walk in our freedom. Think through my mind and speak through my vocal cords. I ask for forgiveness of the things that are in me that are not of you. I receive it. Thank you for these men and women that are here that call this their family. In your name we pray, amen. Let's give God a hand. Amen. There's a difference between sobriety and freedom. It starts with sobriety. The Bible says that, you know, I ain't no holy roller, but who the Son sets free is free indeed. Now, there's a difference. We can relate to it, right? Like, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands, but if you got a warrant, you may be free, but you ain't free indeed. At any time, if you get pulled over and run in with Johnny Law, you're going to jail. So I don't want to just put the plug in the jug. I mean, I want to really deal with the why behind the what when it comes to freedom. And I'm tired of being a slave to my addiction. In Romans 6:14, addiction does not have to be your master. I want you to think about that for a second. That we turned our will and our life over to the care of crack, meth, heroin, fentanyl, alcohol, methamphetamines, whatever it is for you. We had no problem turning our will and our life over to the care of. I literally was mastered by a leaf, a cocoa leaf. I must not be that bad or that strong if I'm mastered by a leaf. Everything that drug told me to do, I did. Wherever it told me to go, I went. Whatever it told me to do, I said, consider it done. And we learn in Narcotics Anonymous that one is too many and 1,000's never enough. But let's take it a step further. Like some of us, we're a slave, and I'm all about it. Who's got mental health issues? Now, if 100% of everybody is not raising their hand in here, you're a liar. And don't be ashamed of it. Okay, but I became tired of being a slave to fear, to anger, to anxiety, to oppression. I didn't want to be a victim anymore because I wanted to have victory, and victory is freedom. So it says in Galatians 3:22, being a prisoner to your addiction is a choice. Doesn't that sound pretty black and white, that it's a choice? When a cocoa leaf was my master, when something you could make with batteries and Sudafed sent me to prison. So at the end of the day, I can't control the fact that I got addiction in my veins, but I do have a choice to pick up or not. But if the choice to pick up or not was as easy as picking up or not, I would have put it down a long time ago. So understanding that we suffer from these things and we're a prisoner to this thing called sin, but we receive God's promise of freedom only by believing in Jesus Christ. And again, whatever your religion is, we're cool. I love you. I'm an AA guy. It's attraction rather than promotion. Colossians 1:22, you no longer have to be a slave to your past. I was tired of my past dictating my future. I was tired of living in shame and guilt. My history actually benefited my destiny. Because of a crack addiction, we started Serenity Village Community Church. Because of my addiction, now I'm working in the field at one of my greatest, I don't even call it a job. Being around you guys is the greatest thing I've ever been in my life. It's an honor and a privilege. But I didn't want my past to dictate my future. I did not want to live in regret. I didn't want to live the woulda, coulda, shoulda lifestyle. I'll be happy when or if I get out of this, or I get out of treatment, or I get out of jail, or I get into a new relationship, or I get a new job. What about being happy now? I told some of the champions Friday, a couple weeks ago, I've been doing a lot of traveling lately and been with my kids a lot. And I had a couple moments because life is not about only time. It's about moments that create memories. My children know where I'm going to be on Tuesday nights. And they don't always agree with it early on, 19 years ago, but now they understand it. We had to come back from the cabin early because I had to be here. Because if I'm not here, I'm not here. And so many of us are in a hurry to get on with our lives. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting there with my son, and now both my son and I, we can't grow a beard for the life of us. It would be the biggest disaster ever. I literally wouldn't shave for 2 months. It would be a you-know-what show. So I said, do you ever take a steam room and then shave and then go back in the steam room? So I was showing him how to do this. And then I said, well, go back into the steam room and get our stragglers with the razor. And my son looked to me and he said, Dad, you never taught me how to shave. Because I was high. And instantly I just felt like the worst dad in the world. And then he looked at me and says, but you taught me how to be a man.
That's right.
There's a lot of men that can teach their sons how to shave that can't teach them how to be a man because they don't know what a man looks like. And then we were at this concert, and my daughter, when she graduated college, this is the same little girl that walked around at a year's age, never spoke a clear word in her life, in her nightie after I took a hit of crack, and said, why? We listened to her favorite song, and she looked at me and she said, Dad, I'm so grateful you're in recovery. Freedom. See, it's one thing to get free. It's another thing to stay free. And the Bible just said, you get free by believing. So when we open the door of our freedom, we're free. But I don't feel free. I'm not thinking like I'm free. At times I'm not doing like I'm free. So it's one thing to feel free. It's another thing to be free. You've heard it said in the rooms that, you first get sober and, life is so wonderful because I'm free. But then life hits you. And Freddie ain't dead, and he comes back in your mind and through your anger. And I was a grown man with little boy issues trying to raise children. I'd have temper tantrums in my 30s. So when you open the door to your freedom, there's something that we need to learn in the steps to obtain and maintain and evolve in your freedom. In Ephesians 3:12, freedom comes from being confident in who God is. Understanding that God is not mad at you. Understanding that if you ask for forgiveness, he's going to give it without hesitation. He's not like people. You can't control if people forgive you or not. Freedom comes when I walk through this door. My objective is to become confident in who God is, and that takes time. And if I become confident in who God is, I'll also become confident in who God isn't. God is not mad at you. God is not sitting up there with a ruler ready to give you a spanking. But when I became confident in who God is, I also became confident in who I am in him. And also who I'm not. So when you get sober, when you start to walk in your freedom, you have to understand that you got exposed to it, but how do you stay in it? How do you live in it? John 8, freedom comes from being taught. You got to place yourself. And like I said to Erica, position yourself in places like this around free people because freedom is contagious. Freedom has an aura to it. I know some of you guys can't even understand why it is I'm mostly happy all the time. I haven't forgotten where I came from. I should be dead. I should be in prison. I shouldn't have this life. And it's not just about being taught. It's also about being caught. James asked me, can I sit with you? I want to understand how you were there and now you're here. A crackhead. It's freedom. It's freedom. I don't just listen to a message. I apply it to my life. And I walk through the door and I learn these steps of freedom. James 1:29, freedom comes from doing what you're taught, not just going here doing, I'm going to do bobbleheading and all that. No intention to doing it. Thinking that you know what you need to do is very dangerous. Freedom comes when you do what you're taught. Psalm 119, freedom comes from seeking God's ways. And a lot of people don't want to seek God's ways because they're so pissed off at God and they think God is so pissed off at them. They have no understanding who God really is. And next Tuesday, I'm going to teach you about who he is. Hebrews 13:5, freedom comes from learning contentment. Contentment with me used to be Only time I was content when I had dope. That's it. Now I'm content mostly in all circumstances, in lacking in plenty. I've learned to be content. It's a process. So when I walked through that door 19 years ago for the 11th time, I'm like, it's much more than just walking through the door of the treatment center. It's going to take time for me to learn God's ways. It's going to take time for me to do what I'm taught. It's going to take time for me to put him first. It's going to take time for me to trust him. It's going to time for me to learn how to be humble, to take another sponsor's advice. It's going to take time for me to do what I don't want to do so I can do what I want to do. Look at the revolving door of prison. Look at the revolving door of treatment and detox. It's a revolving door because people walk through the door of freedom, but they don't know how to act when they get there. Galatians 5, freedom comes when you serve other people. 100% of every man and woman that were on this stage celebrating 1 to 35 years serves this community. Jeff knows that. How long have you been sober, Jeff? 22 years, serving more than he ever has before. Every medallion we give people of a year or more is made by some of his connections. Let's give him a hand. Freedom comes by serving other people. Galatians 5:1, freedom comes when you stand for something. Understanding really, see, so many of us want to be understood, right? I want to understand. Understanding is the truth that you stand under. So many times we stand under a lie about what we think about ourselves, what we think about God. And if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. You're going to let your feelings take you out. That's not what the 12 steps says. It says practice these principles in all your affairs. So where are you at with your freedom? I got to pay honor where honor is due. We are sitting in an air-conditioned church where people are overseas protecting our freedom and sitting in this country making sure we're safe tonight. If you have served in the military, stand up. We want to salute you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2 Peter 2:19, are you still craving corruption and sin? That's normal. But if you stay in these rooms long enough, you'll still always think about it, but you won't desire it. And when you get free, not if, it is available, when you get free, and it may take some time, you will lose the desire to get high or drink. It says they promise freedom, but they themselves are slaves to corruption. For you are a slave to whatever controls you. Colossians 1:13 and 14. See, the thing about God is he's not going to force you to do anything. But crack cocaine and methamphetamines force me to do things. God whispers while the devil screams. For he was rescued from the kingdom of darkness and transferred to the kingdom of his dear Son, who purchased our freedom and forgave our sins. Romans 6:18. It's time to give your recovery what you gave your addiction. You have been set free to something that you were a slave to, and you have to now be more or less slave to your recovery. It's got to be your number one. Your recovery's got to be your number one. If crack got all my cash, I shouldn't hesitate to put money in that basket when it comes around. I'd have to be a hypocrite to do that, not to do that. Isaiah 61, free people, free people. For God's Spirit is on you, on me, because the Lord has anointed you to proclaim the good news to the poor. Carry the message. He has sent you to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom to the captives and release darkness. You know, when you're a light in somebody else's life, there is no greater privilege. When you are an example that I got free and you can get free too, God will protect you. But if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. So as I close tonight, God has called you to be free. But in Galatians 5, I ask you, what's calling you now? Boo? Old girl? Old guy, whatever you call him? Tricky, Ricky, Fricky? He ain't gonna do nothing for you, ladies. He's looking for you to do something to him. What's calling you now? Remember, you walked through the door. You said you were for real this time. You said you were gonna learn. You said you were gonna do it God's way. You said you were gonna listen to your counselor. You said you were gonna get a sponsor. You said you were gonna serve. Free people serve. But what's calling you on this 4th of July? You see, when you walk through the door of freedom, you'll feel good. You'll feel like you got a chance. You'll feel like God's going to work with you. You'll be a light. You got a second chance on life. And you're learning how to talk differently and feel differently and process differently and do differently. And been here before and you got this light. You're serving, you're smiling, you're grateful, you're coming to church regularly. You actually hold your hands up during worship. Everybody around you is looking at the new you. You can't even believe it yourself. But then it goes out. And you come back. And everybody's wondering, what happened to his joy? What happened to his zest? What happened to her excitement to live again? Cut the lights. And what was once light and full of hope and full of goals and full of dreams and full of gratitude, full of humility, the light is out. And your freedom is at risk because you're not guaranteed to walk through that door again. And maybe that's you tonight. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you don't want to be sober. It just means you showed up again. The old you is back. Some of you may have secret plans that you're telling everybody else a different story about what you're really going to do. Going through the motions is not free. Some of you tonight don't have hope about some situation in your life or a relationship or whatever it may be, and that light is out. But tonight, Jonah, I want you to bring this stage, those LED lights, as bright as they can possibly come up on the screen. Because tonight, freedom is available again. Freedom is available in such a way, bring it real bright. This is who you really are. You're a light. I handed some men the microphone for the first time a couple hours ago. They were the light. Sometimes it'll dimmer. And maybe that's you tonight. But one way to admit that that's you, so you don't stay in the darkness of your mind and your thoughts and your feelings and your regret and your shame and your old character defects, say, you know what, that's me. You know, I had a couple of those where my light dimmed when I was traveling. I was jacked. It's part of the program. But I didn't want to stay jacked. I couldn't wait to get back to you. If that's you tonight, one other thing I'm going to tell you is, before you leave, we got a snow cone for you downstairs and some cotton candy. But tonight you've lost your edge. You're majoring in the minors again. You don't know what your future looks like. You're kind of about ready to give up. If that's you, I'm going to ask you to come up here. I know there's more of you. See, one guy that just celebrated 1 year, he's up here. Just got his year medallion. That's part of recovery. So tonight I applaud you, I salute you. By you coming up here, we don't have to get a phone call about you in the next week saying you're missing. We don't have to call your family and say we hadn't seen him or her for a couple weeks. Get over here, champion. You guys are family. Get over here. Let's give them a hand. Love you.
I love you too. That's why I said what I said. Because I respect you and I love
you.
Yeah.
So Lord, we ask that you take this time as we go into our evenings and we celebrate our freedom in you. I thank you for the men and women that made the courageous step to come to a meeting on a holiday. And Lord, I know you honored it. In your name we pray, amen. Love you guys. Love you. Get that number to Shannon. Get the number. Get that number to Shannon.
Yeah, I will.
All right. Happy 4th of July.